Hi everyone. Having discussed words, we are now ready to discuss phrases. In this video, I'm going to focus on phrase structure. And this is the outline. So I'm going to start with some introduction, and then I'm going to proceed with a discussion on phrase structure, in which I'm going to introduce the terms like head, dependent, specifier, complement, and modifiers. So let's get started. To begin with, a simple sentence like I took a trip to London consists of the subject and predicate, which are usually NP and VP, respectively. So, in this sentence, the subject is the NP I and the predicate is the VP, took a trip to London. Similarly, in the sentence, it was a very good trip. The subject is the NP it and the predicate is the VP, was a very good trip. In addition to noun phrase and verb phrase, there are other phrases like adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and preposition phrase. Essentially, a phrase always has a head. A noun, verb, adjective, adverb, and preposition is the head of a noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and preposition phrase. It can be said that an X is the head of an X phrase. A phrase may consist of only its head, or it may consist of its head and other dependents. The first is called one-word phrase, and the latter is called multiple-word phrase. So this is a diagram illustrating phrase structure, where X is the head of an X phrase, or XP. The X phrase may consist of only its head, or it may also consist of other dependents on the left and the right. So let's have a look at examples of a noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and preposition phrase. Here, example A are one-word phrases, and example B are multiple-word phrases. So first, car, letter, parents, trees, and cloud are noun phrases, as well as a car, the letter, tall trees, and dark cloud. Next, reading, bought, crying, died, and smiled are verb phrases, as well as was reading the letter, has bought a car, and was crying. And next, tall, dark, and mild are adjective phrases, as well as very tall, very dark, and very mild. And next, hard, fast, and recently are adverb phrases, as well as very hard, really fast, and quite recently. And finally, with, after, before, in, and for are preposition phrases, as well as with frustration, after lunch, and before Christmas. As a phrase may consist of other dependents in addition to its head, we are now going to take a closer look at the dependents. The dependents are on the left or on the right of the head. A specifier is usually on the left. A complement is usually on the right, and a modifier may be on the left or on the right of the head. Next, we are going to consider these dependents, starting from the specifier. The specifier is the position for a determiner in a noun phrase and an auxiliary verb in a verb phrase. So in the noun phrases like a car, the letter, a dealer, and her parents, the determiners, which are the and her, are at the specifier position. Similarly, in the verb phrases like has died, was smiling, and might rain, the auxiliary verbs, which are has, was, and might, are at the specifier position. Next, let's have a look at a complement. Basically, a complement completes the meaning of the head. For example, in sentence A and sentence B, the verb phrase is bought a car and was reading the letter, respectively. The heads of the verb phrases, which are the transitive verbs buy and read, need complements to complete their meanings. So, the verb buy takes the noun phrase a car as its complement, and the verb read takes the noun phrase the letter as its complement. Without these noun phrases, the sentences would become ungrammatical, as illustrated in C and D. On the other hand, in sentence E and sentence F, the verb phrase is has died and was smiling, respectively. The heads of the verb phrases, which are the intransitive verbs die and smile, don't need a complement. Adding noun phrases like a car and the letter to the sentences would make them ungrammatical, as illustrated in G and H. So, it can be said that the occurrence of a complement depends on the head. In other words, the complement has to be licensed by the head. Finally, let's have a look at a modifier. A modifier doesn't have to be licensed by the head. Let's look at sentence A and sentence B. Sentence A, he has recently bought a car. And sentence B, he has recently died. In sentence A, the head of the verb phrase is the verb buy, which is a transitive verb. On the other hand, in sentence B, the head of the verb phrase is the verb die, which is an intransitive verb. However, the adverb phrase recently, which is a modifier, can co-occur with both of them, suggesting that the modifier doesn't depend on the head. More examples are sentence C and sentence D. Sentence C, he has bought a car from a dealer. And sentence D, he has died from a cancer. In both sentences, the preposition phrases are the modifier, which can occur freely regardless of the verb types. Additionally, while a complement is required, a modifier is not. And there can be more than one modifier in a verb phrase. This is illustrated in sentence A to sentence D. In sentence A, he has bought a car. There is no modifier. In sentence B, he has recently bought a car. There is one modifier. In sentence C, he bought a car from a dealer. There is one modifier. And in sentence D, he has recently bought a car from a dealer. There are two modifiers. This is also true in the other four sentences. Here in sentence A, he has died. There is no modifier. In sentence B, he has recently died. There is one modifier. In sentence C, he has died from a cancer. There is one modifier. And finally, in sentence D, he has recently died from a cancer. There are two modifiers. To sum up, in this video, we have discussed phrase structure. Essentially, a phrase always has a head. In addition to the head, there may be other dependents like specifier, complement, and modifier. Each of them has different restrictions on their occurrences. I hope you find this video helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!